We are talking about Star Trek 4. Its release date has been pushed or delayed or removed from the schedule. Once again, Star Trek 4 is in the news. But why? It's in the news because someone at Paramount finally looked at the information, the numbers, the data, and said, there's no way this happens. So here we are.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is the timing of this news is really interesting because Brian and I had been working on a Star Trek 4 Boldly Going Nowhere video on the Prime channel. And if you haven't seen that, you should go over and take a look because it actually breaks down more than just this news. It kind of talks about how the things leading up to this that were going on. So that's a great video to watch. But this news basically says, Star Trek 4
Amazon
was
hit show.
supposed to launch, be released in December 22nd, 2023. And that news came out earlier this year. But after Matt Shakman decided to take the
Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Marvel job and left Star Trek. I mean, you can't blame the guy for taking a Marvel movie that has a schedule, that has actors placed, to leaving Star Trek, who the actors are like, oh, we're doing a movie? Cool.
Right, yeah.
They call it?
They announced the schedule, and then someone on the red carpet, like a week later, so, hey, what's going on with Star Trek 4? He goes, oh, they're doing that? Like, no one.
Yeah, they announced it. Oh, really? Okay.
No one knew about this movie except for the studio announcing it. Like, everyone is confused.
Yeah, and you want to watch our video about it because we actually go into and explain why. And Chris Pine gives it away. I won't give it away here exactly, but Chris Pine kind of gives away why Star Trek 4 has been so difficult to nail down. And we'll let his words talk about it there. But if you were looking forward to Star Trek 4, we'll have to wait a little longer. What's going to happen next? They need a director. Is JJ Abrams going to just plop down in the seat and do it? I don't know. He could. He did start this thing, so he could end it. I think that the studio has got a lot to do, though. They got to get a director who's willing to be flexible. They need actors. They got to get paid, and then they got to manage their schedules. I don't know, Brian. What do you think?
Yeah. So here's the first thing you do. And I don't know if this is the way it's actually done, but I would assume if Shane said to me, hey, Brian, we have $5 million and the rights
Quit. Let's go.
to Star Trek. We have to make a movie with this budget. My first step would be, okay, let's get a script.
Yes.
And then my second step would be, hey, actors, we have a script. It's in your email. Let us know if you're interested. This is your salary, if you are. And then my third step would be to find a director and a producer and all the other services. And then when everything was in place, when all those steps were done and I knew who was in the movie and who wasn't and who was doing what, and I had the budget and everything set up, I would then find my best release date and then I would announce that release date. They literally did it completely backwards. They started at the bottom of the list and went all the way and went up. It makes no sense.
Well, they had their executive producer in place, and it makes me wonder. They must have really felt good about their script for them to put a date in, because you got to remember this script has been bouncing around for a while. It's like they've gone through 3 or 4 variations. So the guys who were working on this script were cleaning up the last one. So they weren't starting over from scratch. And we don't know what that script is about, but they were still going to, it was basically for this crew, the rebooted crew, and it was cleaned up. So they didn't have a big script problem to worry about. Now, what we heard, and we'll break into the video a little bit here, but what we found out was basically insiders during Star Trek Day were like, yeah, so just so you know, things are not going well. The director quit. And by the way, the script is not being received very well. So that kind of was the problem. So forget the actors and everything. Like, they don't have a story. And the director's like, well, you ain't got a story. I'm not going to stick around. I got work to do. So the studio has big issues here, Brian. They got to get their crap together for Star Trek 4.
Right, and the question is, who didn't like the script because they didn't show it to the actors? And often when you're going to show something to an actor, you send them a script.
Yeah, the actors don't know anything. You're right. But I think it's a studio problem. I mean, I guess I'll just tell it. So the studio wants a big blockbuster movie. They want to compete with Marvel. They want to compete with they want to make $1 billion Star Trek movie. But as Chris Pine eloquently says, maybe Star Trek isn't $1 billion thing. Maybe it should be like a $500 million thing. And let's make a Star Trek movie for fans who love Star Trek. That's literally what he says. Check out our video.
Right.
And that's truth. That is truth. So if the studio is like, well, this script isn't going to be big enough, or where's the, big laughs, where's, I don't know, but it's definitely not what they want. And, they want to make a lot of money. So what do you do?
Yeah, they do. They want to make a ton of money, and, everyone wants to make a ton of money. I get that. But you can decrease the budget or whatever and make a story that's not like Discovery. Remember what we talked about? Every season of Discovery, galactic ending event.
Right.
Like, you couldn't make a contained story. It had to always be a galactic ending event. Right? And every season you're trying to one-up yourselves until your ship is 997 years into the future. You're dealing with a mystical force that burned out all the dilithium and a species beyond the Great Barrier that accidentally is destroying planets. Like, this is the level you get to when you are constantly trying to one-up your previous season.
Yeah, good call. They should do a V'ger script. The actors are older. They've been around for a while now. Remember, TOS did Star Trek the Motion Picture. They were older, right? They should do some sort of a take on V'ger and then fix kind of that whole thing and make it more interesting and not so slow.
I mean, good point, because technically V'ger should be showing up in their time.
Should be, yeah.
Because time was changed, but the time that was changed affect the crew. It wouldn't have affected V'ger.
Right. And maybe this is an opportunity to tie it to the Borg somehow. Like, they could do a really cool Star Trek movie. Hey, guys, let us write the script. Okay, let us write it.
Oh, you can even introduce the Borg via V'ger.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you guys, you want to make $1 billion? That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You want to make $1 billion?
Star Trek fan ever.
Take every Star Trek, the best of Trek, and just put it in one movie. I mean, imagine the Borg in a Kelvin universe movie with all they can do now. I mean, that would be, you can finally tie V'ger to the Borg the way, I know not everyone likes that idea, but there are plenty of fans that love that idea, just so you guys know. So you can actually tie that. You can even leave on like a teaser where like they deal with the V'ger situation and like you see like someone's skin with the nanite thing at the very end, and like you can make 2 movies here. You can make 2 movies.
You could do a lot. And it would also lead into something else. You could turn it into like a new trilogy or something. Right. Where you pop out 3 movies. I mean, there's just a lot they can do. There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of Trek stories that can be told with different takes on it. The cool thing is they need to focus on the characters. See, that's the secret. The characters are what are important. All of the Star Trek movies that are great really focus on the relationship between, Kirk and Spock and McCoy. Just that whole relationship building, they need to do that. Make us care about the characters again, kind of like they did here. And I know not everybody loves the second Star Trek rebooted movie, but there's some really great elements in it. Yeah. Other than Khan.
Yeah. Jeremy says that V'ger should be tied to Discovery's spear data computer. That actually, as much as I hate that so much, it makes sense. And he's also said, no thanks, the Borg only want hugs these days. Archmage Frey, you're right. Except for, that's the wrong way to do it. The Borg, right. The Borg should be on the same level as an incoming storm. It should be so terrifying because you are not fighting something that you can fight with your hands. It is a force of nature. They are locusts. It should be on that. They should be terrifying because on their nose, like on paper, That is a terrifying idea. That
100% true.
like the Borg not only overrun everything that they touch, but they are actively now turning your body unwillingly into one of them. It's like if zombies were smart. It's crazy. It's an amazing idea.
You'd have to like find a way to like twist time a little bit to make it possible, but there's got to be a way with this new timeline to have something have happened that would change that whole element.
Yeah, well, with the V'ger thing, so the way they worked it out, I mean, in the movie, they can just have a different outcome where maybe it has a little more of a, maybe they handled it less with the precision of the original crew, and more with the blunt instrument, and they solved the problem, but maybe they pissed off the nanites. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Something.
John Burns says, if pitch meeting taught us anything, it's that the studios are good with taking less money. Studios hate large grossing movies. I mean, coincidentally, that is often true. He also said, don't they need a new Chekhov's gun?
Well, of course,
you're talking about the story element, right?
Yeah, it's a dramatic principle that states that every element in a story must be necessary and irrelevant elements should be removed.
Wow.
Thank you for the super chats, John. That is fantastic.
Thank you, John. All right. Well, that's it for that news. Let us know in the comments section what you think about this whole debacle. Are you done with Star Trek 4? Are you care any more about this universe? Let us know in the comments section. And if you haven't watched the video, go check out that video on the way there. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on, Bob.